everybody. Welcome to the Hilltop Pillbox here in Abbotsford, British Columbia, Canada. And today, before we watch our BBR3 footage, I'm just going to do a quick shout out here. Recently, I was gifted a copy of this beautiful G40 printed map. It's just really nice. It's got all the extras on it. I'm not sure if this is YG's or not, but the shout out is to Jeremy. Jeremy, who I've had the pleasure of meeting recently this past summer, gave me this map just out of the goodness of his heart. So now I'm going to give this to you here. So I now have a nice printed map of the G40 map, so I don't have to haul out the 4 boards and clip them together and all that sort of stuff. So this is fantastic. So a huge shout out to Jeremy. Thanks so much, buddy. Appreciate it. I still get blown away, and every time somebody, you hear people just giving things away, developing things and giving them away, and just adding to the community in such a great way. It just blows me away how great this community is. I look forward to being able to get a game of this going in not too long a time. We are headed back to school though, and I just got my teaching load for the first quarter. And so I got to get things prepared because we have students that are going to be in the class for the morning, and then in the afternoon we have to do video classes. So I have to figure out how to teach online and in the class, and that's going to be a tall order. There's lots going on, and trying to make an online component for classes that typically don't play well to that, such as drama. That's kind of a difficult order, but as I struggle to get things into order there, my soul is encouraged because of things like this. Just just a great move. So Jeremy, top shelf, man, really appreciate it, and I hope I can return these favors that are coming into me when people send me map files. Like Hell on Wheels out in the UK did a map file which included the Hilltop Pillbox on it. If you haven't seen that video, and I was able to print out a map, and it's just amazing. And of course Panzer King and all the great minis he sent to me, all painted up beautifully, and decals on them, on flight stands. Can't believe it. And then the carriers, if you haven't seen those, it's on a video from about a month ago. Just gorgeous stuff, so take a look for those. But without any further ado, folks, we're going to get on to the BBR3 gameplay. Just happened recently, and you're going to see some whoopses by both sides, but an entertaining game nonetheless, and we will go there now. Enjoy the show. Well, hello everybody, and welcome back to the Hilltop Pillbox. We're not in Abbotsford today, we're in Vancouver at a secret location, and we're going to be playing a game of BBR3. And there's 3 of us playing, and it's a secret location and secret players today. So we have, I'm going to be playing the Axis, and the other 2 gentlemen will be playing the Allies, of course. This is... oh shoot, I forget. Lieutenant Dan. Lieutenant Dan's version of the map, and as you can see, there is a whole bunch of information on the map of different ship sinkings, of amphibious assaults, of major battles that happened, and he's actually put a key here, a legend, so you can check things out. Very interesting, but this does follow the BBR map made by Sired Blood, and we're going to get right down to it. And looking forward to today's game, and hey, I hope that the dice are not crazy for either side and that it's just a fantastic time. We'll let you know in just a moment. Alright, so round 1 is done, and it was a pretty balanced round. A little bit of dicing occurred, but nothing horrible. I don't think there's anything that was incredibly tragic for anybody. A little lot happening here because the Germans came over and sank the Canadian stuff, so then the British came over and sank the German subs, but then brought over a transport. So we have Canadian lads on a British transport. The Americans had a rather large build go on here in the Atlantic. The Germans were able to sink all the fleets. Lost a couple of planes doing it though. Lost a bomber and I think a fighter. Because there was a scramble by the British, and then after the Germans killed the fleet, they retreated from the battle. Lost a couple of subs too. Yeah, 6 tanks left in Paris. The French tried an attack against southern France here, took out 1 Italian infantry, but they lost both units. The British have built an air base and no doubt have ATC as their tech, and have put their fleet there. So it's going to be very tough to dislodge for the Axis. On the Eastern Front, the Germans have brought a bunch of stuff over. They left Yugoslavia for the Italians, but were able to take Finland, of course, as a freebie. Down in Africa, the British spanked the Italians out of Ethiopia using some units from Egypt as well as from Calcutta. Calcutta built some men. The Chinese had some fortuitous rolling here and were able to kill the Japanese. Japanese had 6 units sitting there and they killed them all for the loss of, what did you lose, 2 Chinese units. So that was one place we got diced, but the rest of it is pretty status quo. The Russians retreated in the east. Japanese kept a decent force up there and built a transport. Moved a little bit of the Navy out here to Iwo Jima, and the Americans replied by moving their whole force out to 26, but only built a transport in the Pacific. The Japanese, of course, built the naval port in Hainan right off the bat, so less stuff on the board, but this stuff can now move 3 spaces. Anzac came down here to Java and marshaled up their stuff here, built a transport and a man. So I think Canada saved her money this round, right. And France is just doing what France does. All right, that's round 1. Pretty typical, nothing really hugely out of whack. No Taranto, so we'll see what happens on round 2. Round 2 is done, and the Allies doing really well. But we'll just kind of go over some stuff here. The Americans are building up to come do a landing. Got to wait a couple turns yet, so the Germans put some money into some subs and marshaled everything over here into the east for the inevitable push. The British launched an attack on the small Italian fleet there in '93 and destroyed it, which is unfortunate, but it is what it is. And the Italians built a couple of subs and a transport in '97. The Italians took Greece and didn't take a hit, so that was nice, and moved a couple of guys up. Germans built a major factory in Romania. So Germany didn't put much on last round, just 4 subs and a major, but this round they'll have quite a bit to go. And the Germans have evacuated Norway. In Egypt, the British continue to pour effort into that and building some armor, and took British Somaliland without taking a hit. The Russians just continue to load up for bear, getting ready for the inevitable German assault. Calcutta is well and truly entrenched, probably never going to get taken this game, but there it is. The Chinese kind of took it on the chin, lost a bunch of guys and tried to take Yunnan and lost 4? I think 4 guys in the assault, only killed 1 Japanese, so they had to retreat. Building Sikang. So they are a little neutered right now. Japanese built a factory there and built an airbase in Guangxi. So usually it's built in Yunnan or Hunan, and that may yet have to happen, but we'll see. Up at the north, not much going on there. Not much going on in Japan. Moved the fleet down to the Caroline. And the Americans did pretty much their whole build in the Atlantic this round. Anzac continue to launch out. They took Sumatra and reinforced New Guinea. and are getting ready for, once again, the inevitability of conflict in the Pacific. We'll let you know what turn 3 looks like in just a moment. All right, turn 4 is just about to begin, and so of course everybody's at war now. The Americans are in, the Russians are in, everybody's in, so we'll just show you what's going on. Not much change in the Pacific. The Anzac built a couple of subs here and went and kind of stretched out a little bit. And Japanese have waited, and it's probably a bad thing. I may have waited too long, but we'll see, because China now is pretty much done. They got $1. I think they got one from last round they saved. But all of China has been taken, so now the Japanese are a little bit more free to roam, building tanks there on the mainland now, so we'll see what happens. Of course, the heavy punch of the Air Force cannot be overstated, I guess. Calcutta, very much bulked up. They've got about 22 units there right now, so they're definitely holding on to that for a while. The Italians came across, took Transjordan away, and El Alamein, and they're putting the squeeze on Cairo, and have closed the Suez Canal and are convoying the British, so that's always fun. The Germans brought the Luftwaffe down here and chased away the UK Navy. As you can see, they had to take off, so they took off up north and built a carrier and a couple destroyers because, well, there's 5 German subs there, so the subs have done their job, forcing the British to spend money on destroyers, but that might not be able to spend too much more on subs. We'll see. The Canadians have come down here with the help of the UK transport, have taken Brazil, and so Canada's doing pretty well. Received $12 last round, and they're building transports and destroyers, and America is fully loaded up and ready to come over, and we'll see how that transpires. The Eastern Front, this is obviously going to get going. The Italians declared war on the USSR, came into Bessarabia. Not so much a can opener, because I think I only got like 8 tanks there, but it's done is done. And now we're going to be moving forward, and we'll see what happens here on turn 4. Turn 4 of 8, and the Axis have got to get moving if we want to get our 12 points. All right, we'll let you know how turn 4 goes right after this. All right, here we are ready to start round 5, and you can see the carnage in the Pacific. Lots of dice, but there hasn't been any big battles yet. And the Japanese bulked up a little bit at home, built a factory up there, got their tanks ready to go. It's a good chance we're going into Russia this round, and we'll have to stop the cavalry. Down here in the south, the Chinese have been destroyed, but at some great cost. We lost 3 ground units and 2 fighters when we were fighting his fighter and 4 infantry, so kind of got schooled there. The British tried to take Iran, but the Iranians fought valiantly and killed the 1 unit they brought with them. So, and they shot down a plane too, didn't they? I think there was a plane lost over Iran. We got 2 hits here.
Correct, yes.
Yes, so, yeah, the dice have been kind of even, I think. A little hot, cold here and there, but for the most part, pretty even. The British have definitely bulked up here, built a factory in Cairo, and just don't have the horses, say the Italians, so we had to back off. And they came and sank my fleet, and only lost a couple of planes doing that. So Italy, I did it again. This is my 100th time out of 100 games where I stick Italy out a little too far, and boom, get pounced on. So good move by the Brits. So now the Italians are going to have to just bulk things up and try to save their skins. There's a lot of American troops over here and lots of transports. They got 7 transports, so they can bring 14 troops over to Rome. And I don't have enough guys in Rome to hold Rome, so we'll see what happens. Up in France and all this area here, it's pretty empty. Subs had to retreat. In Russia, though, there was an attack by the Russians into Bessarabia that there was carnage everywhere. There's probably 50 casualties total. But the Germans prevailed, and so the Russians kind of skedaddled out of there. And then the Italians could come through with a bit of a can opener move and killed the final remaining tank, the Russian tank. And up here, the Russians charged out of Leningrad. Into the Baltic states, and again did a lot of damage, but not enough, and had to retreat back. So the Soviet front is looking a little light right now for the Allies, but the southern front for the Axis looks even lighter. So we'll have to see what happens here on turn 5. This one could be over pretty shortly. If Italy falls, that'll be it. We'll let you know what happens in just a moment. All right, look at these. That's the task force that's sitting in Sardinia, of all places. What a mess is going on here, I tell you. So the Anglo-American and Crazy Canuck landings are well and truly underway. And Rome is getting a lot of support from the powers that be in Berlin. With some more Americans on the way. Canadians built a air transport / bomber last round. Americans continue to pour money into the Atlantic. Looking up here, the British came and took care of a German destroyer that was just sitting out there for no apparent reason. The German battleship will get repaired this turn. Some good stuff here in Western Germany. Over here, though, the Italians have done the famous can opener move again, and were able to free Bryansk from the evil clutches of the communist regime. And now their self-propelled artillery, they're going to be able to bring in about 20 of those and about 7 tanks. So we'll see. Moscow could fall. Really depends if the dice get hot or not. And we'll see what happens. Over here, the British were able to take Iraq and now own that. That's worth 4 points to them, 2 on the board and 2 in bonus. Over here, Calcutta is empty, but I can't get to it as Japan, so no big deal. But it looks like they're moving guys out into Burma here. Real show of force against the meager Japanese ground forces. So we'll have to do something about that. The Japanese forces up here are a little spread out, but we'll see what happens to them. And the Soviets got a lend-lease of a free artillery in Amur. So they got that going for them. The Japanese bulked up, built a carrier and a fighter, and some other stuff here at home. But nothing too threatening. There are 3 subs up in the lend-lease area. The Americans pulled back their fleet back to the California coastline, knowing that the Japanese could bring a world of hurt down on them in 26. So they moved out of the way. Japanese took Guam. That's part of the Rising Sun victory point. So that's important to them, as are the Philippines. They're getting convoyed pretty well here. Got convoyed for 7 last round. But the Anzac came down and took Java just moments ago. So there's that. And building some more transports to come cause an Anzacian nuisance of themselves. That's pretty much where things are now. So a couple of hot spots. Probably the South Pacific. Going to see some battling happening. Possibly Southeast Asia, Africa, possibly here in the Med. We'll see if any of this actually happens. And then also here on the Eastern Front. I'm not sure if anything's going to happen up here with that British fleet. It's got a French fighter up there, so they're ready to go. We'll see what happens here on turn 6 of 8 of the BBR version 3. All right, round 5 is done. No, 6. 6? Round 6 is done. Oh, I can't even keep track of this stuff when you get tired. A Herculean effort by the Allies to take Rome, but just too much stuff. They weren't able to get in there. The British did take Holland, Belgium. But that British fleet that was up here was sunk by the Luftwaffe and the Kriegsmarine, so that kind of spoiled the British hopes at pushing their power around in the north. I guess the big story is that Moscow did fall, and there's nothing around that can retake it, so it's not in any danger of being retaken. and the Axis have kind of a good hold on the Caucasus. The Japanese have moved into Stalingrad. The British did make a landing in Greece after they failed American landing in Rome. They decided to take the road not quite so beat up. This guy's got to go somewhere else, though. But they'll move him back to Cairo or something. The French are pushing their way through Africa, and the Italians are down to 2 units and a AAA, so not long for this world. Over here, Calcutta is safe. Southeast Asia Point will not be realized by the Japanese this game, and the British even were able to take Yunnan back. The blue chips, in case you're wondering, are 10. So there's like 10, 16, 17, 19 units there, plus some good air power. So Japanese are retreating from that area. Down here, the Anzac came and took Sleeves back this round. What did you? Yeah, we'll check on that in just a second. Philippines are in good control. Guam, Japanese now have a monster fleet here and are prepared in case they do want to attack the Russians. They're prepared to stop the horsies from going all over the place of the Mongolians. The Americans took care of a pesky Japanese convoy up here of a single sub, and have basically said that the Pacific is not going to be an American fight. They spent everything over in the Atlantic. So we'll see what happens here. Anzac built, saved some money, and they had enough to build 2 fighters and a bomber. So they're going to reach out and touch someone on this next round, no doubt about it. And it's possible that the Allies are going to concede on this one. I think there's 15 or 16? 15. There's 15 victory points by the Axis right now, and with the Soviet Union being on the shelf, Germany can put all of its money over here, and that's a problem for the Allies. So we might try one small thing here, and if it works, then it's definitely curtains. If it doesn't, we'll take another look and see if we're going to keep playing. We'll let you know in just a moment what the outcome is. Alright, well that's what we wanted to try, and it worked very well. The anti-aircraft missed every shot, and his infantry got 2 hits total. So yeah, I got all my Air Force left, I got all this stuff. It's pretty nasty. So the Allies are going to concede here, but a hard-fought affair here into round 7. And any last-minute thoughts on the game at all you'd like to share with our viewers, my Allied opponents?
Didn't capitalize on all the units on the board, I think. Did not make use of them, in my opinion, both from my side and my colleague here.
So stuff that you bought that just didn't engage.
Sitting there, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that can sometimes hurt the Allies, absolutely. I know you got diced a couple times in some battles, like minorly, but not horrible. But there was a couple where yeah, you guys got the wrong end of some dice every now and again. I like what you're doing here with the UK. I think you could probably come and cause some grief. I did build a bunch of transports here in Japan last round because I knew that Calcutta was coming, and now I can bring 8 units and a bunch of firepower down here if I wanted to. I was also thinking of maybe taking out the Soviets if the Moscow attack wasn't going to hold. So, but yeah, that was my thing. Anzac doing very well. What did you end with for Anzac? I think you got 470, 18 bucks plus some bonuses. So Anzac, not a trivial force, and they did not receive the assistance from the Americans that usually allows them to build up and be pretty impressive. So kudos to the Anzac. The Canadians are going to get a special nod here because they did force a landing in northern Italy. Unfortunately, they died, but they finally got on the score sheet.
The stick, still a hold of it, and then here's what the next play that happened. They're in front. Oh man, that's just a flat-out sucker punch by Ty. That's brutal.
got out there. They did have a destroyer, and along with the French destroyer, come sink an Italian sub, and cause for celebration for them. And they are the last unit, ground unit in Cairo, the Canadians. And of course, on this turn, we didn't have the French attack here, but they sure could have, and probably would have taken a guy out there. But Cairo was safe. It wasn't going anywhere. Italy cannot build a fleet. That's all tied up there. But that's the BBR3, folks. And hope you've enjoyed the show. Real thanks to our host who put on a great spread today.
Good game access. Well done.
Well, appreciate that. If you ever do play BBR by yourself as the Axis, just make sure you get a lot of sleep the night before. I started to forget some things going around. The other thing that both of us, well, all three of us did, both sides did, was that if somebody forgot to do something, if it was pretty minor, we said, okay, that's fine for the first few rounds, and then it was, that's too big of a mistake. So, but it's good to be pretty forgiving early on. It keeps everybody in a good mood, and usually it's stuff that it's so automatic that you think you did it and you just forgot to do it. So we kind of gave each other a little bit of leeway on that. Just makes for a funner game and much more enjoyable time for all. But thanks for watching, folks. We hope you enjoyed this rendition of the BBR version 3. And we'll see you next time at the Hilltop Pillbox. Hug your loved ones. Thank your friends for playing. And may the dice be with you.